So one day I wanted to try a day in Minecraft in real life. My goal was to build a boat and go fishing, but I had to use cardboard as wooden planks that I got from the villager marketplace. And I thought I was well equipped for this task because I have a long history building boats. I duct taped the cardboard together like this until I had a boat. The boat looked pretty sturdy, which is good because the water is going to be very cold. Then I just had to build a fishing pole. In Minecraft you use sticks, so I tried to collect some. This first stick was too small, so I kept on looking until eventually I found this and broke off the perfect stick. I attached it to some string like so, made a little hook, and it was ready to go fishing. I had my boat and my pole, took it down to this creek, and got in the boat. The journey started off a little wobbly, and I barely made it in the boat, but I was in and sort of floating, so I tried fishing. Cast it this way with not much luck, and a boat full of water, so I just resorted to fishing on shore with not much more luck until eventually it started pouring and I caught this carrot, which gave me the idea to plant it later to multiply my carrots. I also caught this book, which I used to enchant my fishing pole like this, which didn't actually give me much more luck, because I casted it and just caught this shoe. One day I decided to run a mile on these moon shoes to prove to the comments that they weren't just a waste of money and see if they actually helped me run the mile faster. And I haven't ran a mile in over a year, so this is going to be pretty hard as is. And I did notice the shoes actually gave me a little bit of bounce as I ran.
I definitely can feel the boing.
Kept on running with my brother behind me until eventually we reached almost half a mile and I was exhausted. And my lack of training was starting to hinder the accuracy of this test because I got even more exhausted and had to take another break. But we were already approaching 7 minutes and my brother left me. Kidding, I caught him. But I kept on going, and then another issue. It broke. I had to pry the bottom piece back on the shoe and keep on running. I was completely exhausted, but I had to push through to try to get a decent time, and we were finished at 15 minutes. Comment any other ideas? So one day I ordered this stuff called Great Stuff, which is basically expandable foam insulation. And my goal was to build a boat out of it. Not just any boat, a cardboard boat, because a while back I had a series on Tik Tok where I tried to make cardboard boats float, and I was never very successful. But I used the best cardboard boat design I knew how to make, and then I was going to cover the entire outside in the Great Stuff. And hopefully it'll float. So I finished taping up the entire bottom, like this. And I already had a decent looking boat. Then we covered the entire bottom in the Great Stuff. And then later we covered the rest of the sides. And when I came back the next day, it was solid looking. And it was ready to be tested in the creek. I walked it down and then got in. And I started to float away. It was working flawlessly without any problem. So I just kept on rowing and having a good time. And then I about ran into a tree. And then I started heading out further. And it was the best boat I'd ever made. I just kept going. So one day, after trying to experience Minecraft in real life with my homemade Minecraft fishing pole and boat, I failed and sunk the boat and only caught this carrot. But in Minecraft, you can multiply your carrots by farming them, so that's what I'm going to try. I took my hoe and started hitting the land, and then I made a spot for my carrot. I pushed it in, let it sit in the ground, and then I planted another one right here. Bam. Yeah, I waited a couple Minecraft days until bam, I had way more carrots. Which gave me another idea. Tame a horse. But you normally use apples, but I'm going to try carrots. I'm going to make a horse my best friend. I went out and found this donkey. I gave it a carrot, and then I moved on to the horse, and it loved me. I could see the hearts forming above its head, and it was my stallion. So one day someone commented that I should fill my inflatable hamster ball up with all these packing peanuts that were in this room. So that's what I did. I then pushed it downstairs to get in and air it up. I got in, let it air up for a little bit, and then I got a snowball thrown at me, ow, and then I kept on airing it up until it was full. And it was really cool inside and soft. I splashed around all the packing peanuts, and then did a roll, and it didn't even hurt because all the packing peanuts cushioned my rolling. I then kept on rolling, and it looked like a popcorn machine. Here's the inside of it. And then me running as fast as I can and falling into the packing peanuts. Then I wanted to see if I could completely hide in the packing peanuts like this, and it worked. Here I am, though. I then ran a little bit more, got tired, and got out. Let me know what else I should try. So I'm trying to live another day like I'm in Minecraft. The first thing you do in Minecraft is chop down a tree, which wasn't really working well for me. I tried shaking it, but it didn't fall down. So the next thing was building a house, which I just tried to do with materials I found around me. So I started placing these stones like this, and then I found these random wooden planks. Yeah, totally. Made a little structure, tried to use cardboard, but it failed. So I just put this air mattress over it, and I had a little base. And next was trying to survive in the snow biome. In Minecraft, you can build a campfire, so that was my first goal, build a fire. I tried rubbing sticks together, but it wasn't working. So then I remembered flint and steel, like you actually use in Minecraft. I put some sticks, and started trying to spark it, but it wasn't really working. Until somehow it definitely lit without me using lighter, totally. I added more sticks and leaves to make the fire bigger, and remember, don't attempt this. I'm a pro. I made the fire, I was warm and ready for bed. Comment any other ideas I should try to survive Minecraft style in real life. One day people commented telling me to fill this giant weather balloon up with water, and so that's what I'm going to do. It's kind of used, but hopefully it still works. I let it fill up with water, and after about 10 minutes it looked like this. I let it keep on going for a little bit longer, and 20 minutes it looked like this. And I just kept on patiently waiting because I didn't know how big it was going to get. And then I pulled this little crease out, and it kept on going. And after about 45 minutes it looked like this. I let it go for a little bit longer, like 20 more minutes, until it broke. Yeah, so much water just went everywhere, and I was pretty sad because I wanted to play with the water balloon. And my dog Remy was pretty shocked as well. Here's the big balloon, and here's me running into a fence. So one day I ordered 6 giant bags of packing peanuts to completely fill up my storm shelter with. And this is the inside of the storm shelter we're going to completely fill with all these bags. I started out with 2 to see what it would look like, added them all in until eventually it looked like this. I then dropped the 3rd in and it kind of covered the camera. I went searching for it, found it, but here it is. It's already really full. It was crazy inside, really warm and kind of cozy. Here's me and what it looks like inside, and then it was time to add more. This is double. I got in, splashed around, and it was like 4 feet of just straight packing peanuts. I dove in like this, then tried to completely bury myself in them and hide like this. I was kind of peeking out, and then I did that, and then I went even further in. I then shut the door. It was really cool. Comment any other ideas you have for the storm shelter. So one day, after everyone kept commenting, telling me to take my 1,000-pound rubber band ball back to the pawn shop like I did a year ago when it was only 100 pounds, I finally went back and showed the man a picture.
Wow, that looks like a wrecking ball.
It now weighs over 1,000 pounds. Should you look at it tomorrow?
And I convinced him to come out to my warehouse tomorrow morning to tell me what he thought it was worth. So the next day, he came out.
Dylan?
There he is. Here's the ball.
That is
Everyone's
one
been
big
wanting
ball.
to see it for a long time. Last time I brought it in the store, like only 100 pounds. Now it's 10 times the size.
Wow.
Try to move it.
There's one big ball.
I let him move it around, and then I pushed it down to show him just how heavy it actually is.
It's like a wrecking ball.
Have you thought about maybe selling it to a wrecking ball company?
I think it's like worth more and it's like artness.
How much you want for
I
it?
thought about the price and then told him how much I had in bands
Probably a
alone.
few thousand in the rubber band
500 wouldn't buy it.
wouldn't be worth
We
it.
can load it up if you want to sell it.
I think I'm just gonna have to pass and beat the world record, but
Okay.
He didn't go high enough on the ball, so I just showed him some other stuff in the shop, including this ball and this aluminum foil ball.
That's a lot of foil.
And I said he could have the aluminum ball for 100, but he said that wouldn't be a good return. So one day I wanted to spend a day in my kangaroo shoes that are supposed to make you run really fast and jump really high. They're really hard to balance on, so this is going to be hard. I tried to pick up this basketball but fell into my ball pit, so I had to scooch all the way over to the couch to get myself up. And I was up. I then did some more everyday tasks like throwing away the trash, going upstairs, which was very hard, and using the bathroom, which was hard too. Just kidding. I washed my hands, and then I had to go downstairs by scooching, and then I decided to take my dog on a walk. It was pretty good at first. She enjoyed it. Here I am running back, her following along, and then I slipped on ice almost. I tried to relax in him for a bit and watch this awesome rubber band ball guy, and then I went to the gym, where I was going to get a sick workout with my kangaroo shoes. I had to have someone hand me the dumbbells because I couldn't bend over, and then I did some more curls, some pull-ups, some leg raises, and then I jumped down and was feeling good and motivated, so I decided to try to hit 2 plates. I went down and, no, was stuck. But no worries, I just got up and walked off in my kangaroo shoes. So one day people commented saying I need to fill my hamster wall with even more packing peanuts, which is kind of impossible because once it's like this, it's really hard to fit any more in. But we tried our best, got some more in, and aired it all the way up until it looked like this. And it didn't look much different because I couldn't fit that much more packing peanuts in there, but I just rolled anyway because it was still pretty fun. My goal was just to run as far as I could and then fall, which is what I did. I kept on rolling, and then I just fell down in the packing peanut. And it pretty much just looks like I'm in a giant popcorn machine. I did one more really big roll right into the packing peanut and turned around and said hi. Then I was consumed forever. No, I'm just kidding. I escaped. So one day, to prove to the people in my comments that these shoes actually work, I took them to the gym to test their agility against my friend Brendan, who is considerably more athletic than me. We both did this bounce thing like this and did it fairly easy. Then I pushed this sled, which was a bit of a struggle, and hopped on this thing, which was also a struggle, but Brendan did it pretty easy. I eventually got the hang of the box jumps like this, but Brendan could still do it better. Then I just randomly had an urge to try a bunch of random things in the gym, like this stair stepper thing that I got going pretty fast on actually, and was still able to do it. Then my friend Austin wanted to try squatting. He did the bar first. We were trying to test if the shoes gave him a boost on the way up, but I think it just made it harder. He also tried to deadlift. Remember, don't try this at home. We are trained professionals. Then I decided to race my friend Brendan, and sadly he won. So overall, I just think the shoes make it lighter on your feet. So one day after I went to Casey's and made a bunch of random stuff into a slushie, people were like, what in the world? Saying things like, that's how you get diabetes. Well, yeah, maybe this wasn't the healthiest drink. Here it is a few days later. But we're going to make an even better drink today. I went back to the convenience store, and this time my goal was to choose similarly flavored candies, like wild berry and cherry and wild berry. Got all the candies, and then I poured the mixed slush. Then took it home to mix up the concoction. Started by pouring the baby bottle pop powder into the cup, and then I broke off the candy, poured some Skittles in, threw the Lifesavers in, and accidentally broke the Juicy Drop pop. Then I started pouring the berry-flavored Vooz in to give the drink some hydration and balance it out. One flavor right on top of the other, and then I started stirring like this. Poured it into the shaker and kept on shaking again until the drink was ready for a taste.
it's actually really good.
The drink was way better than the last one. My brother even tried it. Wow. And even after sitting in the fridge, it was just really sweet. So one day, after people kept telling me to fill this giant 30-foot balloon up with helium instead of air, I went to Party City and got 2 helium tanks to try and make my dog Remy fly. First, I aired it up with the first one, like this, and it wasn't very much helium, so I got out the second one, and I really didn't end up with that much helium. Yeah, but it's super expensive, so we're gonna try to make it work. I was hoping Remy would run and the balloon would fly up, but she didn't really. She ran a little bit here, and then I got scared she was gonna run into a tree, so I took it and couldn't make it fly. So sad. So one day, after trying to make spin art that turned out alright, but not as good as I'd hoped for, I decided to try again. Because everyone kept saying all I needed to do was buy more paint. So I bought more paint and this tiny canvas to try it too. I just put a lot of blue paint on there, as you can see, then green paint, spread some yellow across the edges, and I thought it was ready. It was dripping, and when it spun, paint went everywhere, and it got up to really fast, and yeah, it didn't quite turn out how I hoped. It turned out worse than the last one, but then I tried the tiny canvas, put some paint on it, spun it, and broke it. And it turned out the exact same. I was sad. So one day people were commenting how I was going to clean all these packing peanuts in my storm shelter up, so I thought I'd show a little behind the scenes of how we did it. I got some friends to help me. We got a lot of bags and boxes and just started filling them up. There was really no amazing shortcut around just scooping them all up and putting them into bags. But with the help of my friend Brennan, boxing them up and then dumping the boxes into the bags and scooping everything, after about an hour we got most of it cleaned up, and then we scooped the rest into this bag like this, and also picked a lot up by hand. And the rest is completely 100% biodegradable. I will be storing all of this. So it's rubber band ball part 84, and I got another big box with 5 5-pound bags of rubber bands. And since the bands are too big to get on the ball now, we're going to have to loop them into 2 giant strands like this. We spent about an hour doing this, looping the entire pile until we had 2 giant strands. And we didn't know the best way to go about putting them on the ball. We moved everything out of the way and then realized eventually if someone was standing on a chair and then we ran around, it was easy, but it made us really dizzy. Eventually we finished off the entire pile using this method, and then for the second pile we moved the ball over a little bit to add bands on this side, and we figured out wrapping around like this was a lot easier and took like half the time. And the ball actually looks pretty cool now. I stood on it, then we pushed it onto the scale, and it weighs about 1,070 pounds, like if I should keep on going. So one day my dog looked kind of sad, so I had an idea. Get my dog a puppy. I googled puppy and then got her one. I sat him down in front of Remy, and this was her reaction. She looked pretty happy, but the puppy didn't really know what to think. Remy taught him how to eat grass like this, and then got up real close to him, but he acted pretty shy. We named the puppy Rocco, and eventually his personality started to come out a little bit more. And him and Remy started to become really good friends. Be sure to like and follow to keep up with the puppy, and go follow him. Yeah. So one day I went to my local gas station to make the weirdest, walkiest looking slush in the world. I had blue, red, Mountain Dew, and a splash of Coke slushy. Then I bought some candy like this and went home. I also decided to add some orange juice and some Sour Head Bang to the mix. I poured the Bang, then the orange juice, splashed the candy in like this, and started mixing. I stirred it for a little bit, but I wanted to get really shook up, so I poured it in this shaker bottle. I then just started vigorously shaking it all over, right here and then here, until it looked like this. I dropped a Minto in and then gave it a taste, and it was pretty weird. I let it sit overnight in the fridge and tasted it again. It was even more potent. So one day after buying 2 of these 30-foot balloons, one that popped to a plunger and one that I tried to air up all the way, but the wind took a hold of it and popped it. So I bought a third one now to finally try to get it to 30 feet. I waited for a non-windy day and was sure to even wear gloves so I didn't get oil on the balloon. It kept on blowing up until eventually there were striations in the balloon and it popped. Here it is slow-mo several times. So that's maximum height. There was even a big cloud of dust. Comment any other ideas. So one day I decided to test flex tape on a fish tank. I bought a robo fish to go along with it to swim in it. Then I opened up the tank, filled it completely up with water to the top, and then put the fish in and it started swimming. It was pretty cute, and I also gave it a little home. Now it was time to try to break the glass to see if flex tape would repair it, but the glass just wouldn't break, so I decided to use more extreme measures, this hammer, which eventually was too much and completely shattered it. Here's the slow-mo, and the fish just flew out. Poor fishy. But I still had the flex tape. I put it on and it looked like this. The fish still didn't have much of a home. It's part 92 of my giant 1,200-pound rubber band ball, and we're going to add 2 boxes, which is 50 pounds, and more than we've ever added in one video. We had all the bands ready, which was a lot, and we were ready to just loop them all. I'm slowly going to be bumping up my rate of production. That way we can eventually get the world record. We looped the entire pile until it looked like this, then wrapped each strand around the ball. There's 25 pounds, and here's another 25 pounds wrapped completely around the rubber band ball. And my phone just doesn't justify how big this ball is. It is so insane and so hard to move. The ball should weigh around 1,250 pounds now, and it's really tall. To give you an idea, I'm 6'1", and here's me jumping on it. Like if you want me to keep on adding bands to beat the world record. So one day I saw a TikTok of a guy making one of those spinny art paintings, and it looked really cool, like this, and I was like, I could try that and make one. I put some flex tape on some screws in wood, made the frame, and then I squirted some red, white, blue, and green in the corners until I had this. It looked pretty neat, so I took it outside and started spinning, and it kept on going and going until it looked like this. And I didn't think I was going fast enough, so I tried again, but it still looked the same. And yeah, mine wasn't quite as good as the other guys, but let me know what you think. So one day someone commented saying I should fill this entire purple mattress grid up with all eggs. I'm only going to put about 60 eggs in there because I don't want to use that much food. I unzipped the mattress like this, and the purple grid is insanely cool. It looks like this and feels really awesome. I then opened up all the eggs and started placing them in. First one, and then a million more. Well, actually like 57 because 2 were broken, but yeah. I filled it as much as possible, and then it was time to fall on it and test them out. And the eggs did pretty good, so I got out my rubber band ball, but I couldn't even push it on, so I did another hop and then started stepping on the eggs like this, and it was crazy. They all just survived. So then I just punched one of the eggs like this and cracked it. Let me know what else I should try. So one day I wanted to fill this entire room completely up with packing peanuts. I poured out all these trash bags of leftover packing peanuts I had and then got this big bag out and topped it all off until the room was completely filled and it looked like this. It was crazy. Packing peanuts everywhere, high as the bed. I jumped in them, then got on the bed, rolled off, then rolled off this way, threw them up in the air and fell on them. Then I laid down with the packing peanuts and dove off into them and shimmied around. And I appeared. Let me know what else I should do with these. So one day I wanted to build one of these air cannons that I kept seeing on videos. So I went to Walmart and got a trash can, a tarp, an elastic band, and some tape, and then I left. And I also ordered this humidifier on Amazon. It was pretty cool. I tested it out, and then I got to work building the air cannon. Putting the tarp over the hole, then putting this thingy on, and then I realized I did it completely backwards, so I had to redo it until it looked like this. And it was decently powerful and ready for the fog. I put it in there, and it made these awesome rings that went really far. It was so cool. They just went forever and ever. I shot over this can, and then shot the camera like this, then shot my rubber band ball myself like this, and then started shooting the ceiling. Let me know what else I should try. So one day I was back at it working on my almost 1,200 pound rubber band ball. We had 25 pounds of rubber bands in front of us that we looped one by one into basically 2 giant rubber bands that we could then wrap around the ball like this, which is honestly kind of satisfying to watch. And at the end we can also put it on the scale to see exactly what it weighs. Here's the scale that I spent a lot of money on, and it's supposed to read up to 5,000 pounds, but it doesn't read right unless you stand in this exact spot. Our first goal was just getting it to the scale, which is hard enough because it weighs over 1,200 pounds and is really hard to stop. And here was the real challenge, getting it up the ramp, because the problem is the ball is not perfectly round and it rolls everywhere. It honestly looked impossible, but we eventually got it in the exact spot. And it weighs pretty close to the estimate of around 1,200 pounds. So like for more. So one day, someone commented on my video where I tested flex tape on a fish tank after breaking it like this, and it didn't really work. They said to try a bow and arrow in a plastic tank, so that's what I'm going to do. I got my bow out, this plastic tank, filled it all the way up, put the SpongeBob thing in there and the robo fish, and shot it. The arrow actually made a perfect hole I could try to repair. I pulled it out, and all the water was spewing out, and I kind of messed up putting the tape on, so I had to cut some more and add more quickly. The water was running out, I added a third piece, and the fish just barely survived. So one day, a couple months ago, I ambushed my friend Brendan with this super powerful water gun. And today I decided to do it even better. Brendan told me he was at the gym working out and about to finish up. I filled the water gun completely up like this, and then it was ready to go. Here's a normal shot, and here's the most powerful shot. Then I shot around my dogs to try to scare him. Then I was ready to ambush my friend Brendan. I waited until he came out. Then I got a clean hit on him like this. He tried to run, but I kept on shooting. Then he came back.
Like, what? No.
I acted like I was going to shoot him, then I just cleaned out the pavement and his car. Comment any other ideas? So one day I saw a thing where bar soap reacts really weird in the microwave. So I bought a bunch of different soap brands to microwave them all and see what they do. I put the first one in and let it go. It wasn't really doing anything, and then it just kind of melted it and smelled really bad. It was pretty melted, so then I switched to this soap and did one of those old satisfying brick things with it. I put it in the microwave and it eventually started foaming up a little bit and looked like this. And it was also really soft and squishy. And next was the ivory soap, which was supposedly the best. It spun around, fell over, and then started to expand like this. And it felt really soft like a tissue. I then just put all the soap I had left in the microwave to see what that would do. And all the white soap expanded the most, and it looked like this, and it was really squishy. But it wasn't enough, so I microwaved it even longer, and it expanded like this. Whoa. So one day someone commented saying I should try to crush an old Nokia phone with my 1,200 pound rubber band ball. And I'm going to be doing this and testing the durability of a lot of older phones. And this slightly newer Nokia as well. We did a drop test with these 2 phones first and threw them like this and dropped a rubber band ball on them. And even rolled a giant rubber band ball on one of them and stuck it inside the rubber band ball as well. But now it was time to test the 2 Nokias. We did a basic drop test and the older Nokia held up the best. But now it was time to crush it. I could hear the crunch and it rolled onto the Nokia. But it honestly didn't even do that much damage. So I dropped a brick on it like this, and then dropped it on it again, and it was pretty destroyed. Comment what else I should try. It's rubber band ball part 85, and I dumped out all these 12-inch rubber bands to loop them together and place them around the ball. My friend Brennan and I spent about an hour looping 25 pounds of these bands until we had 2 giant strands. And since in the last video we finally figured out the best method to loop them around, that was the easiest part. Here's the final strand, and it didn't take that long until it was completely covered. I tightened it on the ball, and this is what 25 pounds looks like. And here's a painting of the rubber band ball, then me next to it, then up close. And to be honest, I don't know how to work this super expensive scale I bought very well. But between all the pounds of bands I bought, it
it should weigh around 1,100 pounds. And it's a big ball. Like for me to keep going.
So one day, after someone commented that I should fill my inflatable dome with the packing peanuts too, I decided to do it. I dumped out all the trash bags full of packing peanuts like this, and then dumped the hamster ball out until I had this. A giant dome full of packing peanuts that was also blowing them everywhere. I threw some in the air and then threw some at the blower, and it would just hit them back at me like this. It was kind of cool, but some of them kind of hurt. I tried to see how much I could take. Then I fell backwards, fell forward, and did a flip. And here I am just chilling in the dome. Comment any other things I should try. This is my 1,250 pound rubber band ball, and it's part 93. Today we're going to be adding 2 boxes, which is another 50 pounds of rubber band, which will get the ball all the way to 1,300 pounds. This is the longest part, where we looped the pile into 2 giant strands of bands until it was finished and we were ready to add them both on. And I asked you guys to vote on a name for the rubber band ball, and the winner is between Pablo and just the rubber band ball. Comment what you think we should do. Here I am standing on the ball, then falling off, and I just can't justify how big it is on camera. Like for me to keep on adding bands. So one day it was rubber band ball part 91, and today we're going to get it over 1,200 pounds. We opened these rubber bands perfectly normally, and then we just started looping the giant pile like we normally do. And I'm in the works to get a ton more rubber bands, because we're going to have to really increase the production rate if we want to ever beat that world record. We wrapped both strands around, 1 and then 2, like this. And there you can see all the bands we placed. Looks like a ring. I jumped on the ball, stood on it, looked really cool, then pushed it forward a little bit, and threw another rubber band ball at it. So, like if you want me to keep on adding rubber bands. It's now rubber band ball part 87. The ball is 1,100 pounds, and this is 50 pounds of rubber band. I dumped out 25 pounds of rubber bands, and me and my friend Brendan were going to loop the entire pile. He looped half the bands, and I looped half the bands until we were done, and had 2 giant piles ready to place them on the ball. We propped up the ball to its tallest form to make it easier to place them around, and then went around and around while live streaming until we had the first pile done and the second pile, and it looked like this. The ball's insane. It should weigh 1,125 pounds. Like if you want me to keep on adding bands. So one day my comments were amazed I was able to destroy a Nokia. So here I have another one that I bought for 25 cents. And when I slammed it, the back just flew off of it. So then I tried to roll my rubber band ball on it, and it was just kind of awkward because it wouldn't really go over it right. Eventually I just laid it down right here to run it over like this. We looked at it afterwards and it was pretty crushed. But I wanted it to be completely totaled, so I smashed it with this brick. And then I took his son, the younger Nokia. It's rubber band ball part 94, and we're going to add 50 more pounds or 2 more boxes of rubber band. The ball is currently 1,300 pounds and a long way from the world record. We got to it, looping all these bands as usual into 2 big piles. Here was the rubber band ball in all its awesomeness, and then we just kept on wrapping the bands around the ball like this. And in not too long, bam, 50 pounds was added onto the ball, and it's just completely massive. And at 1,350 pounds, it was pretty hard for me or my friend Brendan to push it. Kind of dangerous rolling, and be sure to give a like on this video if you want me to keep on going. So this rubber band ball is just completely insane now. We dumped out all these bands to place on the ball and got busy looping each one. We looped the pile into 2 big strands of bands like this. It's really hard to move, but we pushed it to the center, and then we're starting to place the big loops of bands like this. And these videos cost a lot to make, so it's really helpful when you like and comment on it. My phone just doesn't do this ball justice of how big it is. It's so hard to push, and it's just so cool. And really hard to control because it weighs 1,150 pounds. So one day I took my $177 moon shoes. They're supposed to make you jump really high, and I tried to play basketball with them. I wanted to test if they can make me a better basketball player, and here's me jumping off the rubber band ball and falling. So then I took them to a gym, and it didn't start off very good. I kept missing like this, but I decided anyway to challenge the tallest guy in there to a 1v1. I missed my first shot, but so did he, so it's okay. The only real advantage I could feel was the height. I eventually made one with really bad form. Even though the shoes helped me, he was just way more athletic than me. And he was also already 6'8". But hey, look at the shoes can make me do this and this. Whoa. So this is part 83 of my over 1,000-pound rubber band ball. I bought a bunch more of these stretchier bands to try to put on the ball because they're a lot easier than the other bands, but they're way more expensive. And I put a poll on my YouTube to see if people wanted me to keep going or cut the ball in half, and 90% say keep going, so that's what I'm going to do. And if I want to beat the world record, I'm going to have to find a cheaper way to add a lot more weight really fast. And the scale wasn't really reading right because we kept knocking it off on accident, but the ball should be around 1,050 pounds. Like to keep on going. It's rubber band ball part 88, and the ball weighs over 1,100 pounds. And it's going to take a very long time for us to build this ball up to the world record. So comment if you really want me to keep going. We looped 2 giant piles of our bands, did some jump rope with one of them, and then decided to place them on the ball. And while we're doing this, sometimes we forget about the fact that we're in front of an 1,100-pound rubber band ball. It's kind of crazy. We finished the ball, and it's huge at 1,125 pounds. Comment your ideas for it.